Hello, everyone. Welcome to my Danganronpa Live or Die chapter ranking. This is the start of a series where I'm going to be ranking every single fangan's chapters that I play or watch a playthrough of, because sometimes I don't won't have the time to play it, but have the time to watch a playthrough at double speed. Today we'll be starting off with one I did actually play, Danganronpa Live or Die. This Fangan overall is one I enjoyed, but it's nothing too stand out, and that's probably going to reflect in this case ranking. Chapter ranking, sorry. I'm probably going to alternate between the two, but just know I'm always referring to chapter ranking and not cases. Okay, with that preamble out of the way, let's begin with chapter 1, which is D tier. Now, I feel like some people are probably going to be a little surprised this isn't F tier. And that's because, well, this chapter doesn't do anything egregious. A chapter being short isn't bad. It's not good, don't get me wrong. It's just not bad. Overall, the story's pretty compact. It does what it needs to do. I don't have as many issues with it as I think even the creator does. Though that is pretty common, I guess, for fangame creators to be lower on their creations than some people who play it. Though, of course, it's not like I have no issues with it. For example, Yukito, he's man, he is a wasted potential character. You're telling me we never explore our Komaeda-esque's worldview? I guess him being the chapter one victim is an interesting concept, but overall it's not great. If you get what I mean. It's an interesting concept, but it could have been done better. We could have encapsulated more within the first chapter, but I get it. You wanting to get through the first chapter. I've been there, done that. And yeah, by the way, I guess I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning. My credentials for doing this is that I'm also a Fangan writer. I think across my time creating Fangans, I've created 9 different chapters, though a lot of them are earlier drafts of some other chapters, and I'm still counting them because I completely rewrote which chapters when I redid them because the writing quality was. I don't need to get into that here. Or just know, yeah, I have a lot of credentials when it comes to reviewing fangan writing because I have experienced fangan writing. I've experienced a lot of fangans. I've written a lot of fangan chapters. So that's my credentials. Anyways, so yeah, D tier. Yeah, moving on from Yukito because there's not a lot to say about him. He's just kind of a Komaeda-esque character, but he dies first. So then we have Takeshi, and that's all I can say about Takeshi. I'm sorry, he's a clue to the mastermind. He dies in the first chapter. He's a fine first killer. He's not. I mean, he's just forgettable. Straight up, he's not really a fine first killer. He's just forgettable. But that's not as bad. Trust me, I will explore in this video what an actual F tier chapter is. Chapter 1 is not that. Because there's other things like Ryu. Hold on. I should probably have a list of the character names on the screen. One second. I'm kind of looking like an idiot here. Ryo. Yes, Ryo. So overall, Ryo's forming dynamic with Megumi is actually really fun. I like it, a lot. And yeah, this chapter is generally fine. It could be worse. It doesn't drag, which is super important, and we're gonna get to that later. Yeah, also, the case logic is consistent and makes sense, which You might think, and like it's also like no point where like I know the answer and I can't express that I know the answer because the game makes it fucking impossible to understand what it's talking about, which you might think is like a well, duh, of course that's the case thing. Except it's happened like every single fucking trial in Survivor's Guild, which is so fucking infuriating. Like, oh my god. So, yeah, that's kind of it for chapter one. I think it's a fine chapter to start as your first chapter. I guess your first chapter, it's fine. Could be better, but could definitely have been worse. Chapter two is C tier. This chapter isn't so much longer, but the emotions hit quite a bit harder. I I wasn't necessarily a fan of Sayuri, but I was a fan of Tetsuya. He was a character I latched onto pretty early on as a character I liked for really no other reason than the fact that one of my fan chapters I wrote included an ultimate janitor character, and he was like an ultimate janitor-esque character. His specific talent was ultimate cleaner. But yeah, he was interesting enough, I guess. And overall, I did genuinely enjoy his character. And I think, okay, now that's the positives. I did genuinely feel bad when he died, and the flashback to Sayuri's death, I also felt really bad for him, and a bit bad for Sayuri, but like not really. Overall, I that's the goods for the chapter. The bad stuff for the chapter. Where to begin? It's not necessarily that much longer. The case is a bit more confusing than anything else. No, that's actually a good thing for the chapter. It's a case that's a bit more complex, and it's in a way where it's pretty easy to figure out. Though sometimes there was points where I was like a little confused what the game was trying to ask me, which isn't great, but it's better than it could have been. Overall, though, Tetsuya is a solid second killer, but yeah, now bad stuff. Sorry, I ramble sometimes and sometimes loop around points in my head. That's my bad. I'll try to cut it out in editing, but I don't think I'll be able to get it all. On to the bad stuff, though. Why the fuck are they making constant references to American media? Like, they're Japanese. You know that, right? They're like, oh, well, Japanese people can like American media too. Yes, but number one, is all the stuff they like foreign media or anime songs? Is that all the songs they like? Especially with American songs, like so much American songs. Why are they treating it like a niche, like how they treat Pascal's music tastes like a niche? I guess some American songs are pretty popular in Japan, but still. Number two, isn't it like an entire fucking character point that makes like Boleslaw so unique is the fact that he likes Polish media? Like, isn't that like one of the things that was supposed to like make him unique? Why the fuck does everyone like foreign media if that's supposed to make Boleslaw unique? Stay consistent, folks. Stay fucking consistent. Also, Daichi is like a little unrealistic as a flirty character, even by Japanese media standards. Or it's like it's fine, I guess. I generally did enjoy Daichi, but we'll get to him when we get to him in chapter four. Another bad thing is that it's not necessarily that much longer. Like I completed chapters one and two in a single sitting. It was like a 3 to 4 hour long sitting, admittedly, but like them plus the prologue I was able to do in that short amount of time. So yeah, chapter or two is here. It's a fine chapter, but nothing too crazy. Did get a bit of emotion out of me, which is a massive plus. Chapter three is F tier. I simply, let's start with a simple question. What the fuck was the point of Nene's character? Like, she serves no point aside from making me mad, I guess. Like, if someone can answer me what the fucking point of Nene's character was, I might give y'all a fucking prize or something, because dang, I can't tell you. Also, and I am going to be very negative, okay? It's an F tier chapter for me. The pacing drags, especially in the class trial, which, like, this is why I didn't want to put chapter one in F tier, is because chapter three is basically chapter one's level of, like, not case complexity, because obviously chapter one's a very basic case, but how long it realistically should have taken to solve is about the same time as chapter one, but it's like double or triple the length. Like, it is such a poorly thought out case, not from like a character perspective. I actually did like some of the ideas, but just from a perspective of writing it. If your entire case completely falls apart, if characters discuss a single piece of evidence being what it obviously is, like near the start of the last trial, I'm sorry, but you aren't writing a case well. Characters should be allowed to figure out that the very obvious fishing line is a very obvious fishing line. Like, I'm not saying, oh, well, you should assume characters will figure out complex tricks or just figure out like case tricks or stuff. No. I'm not saying like that. But I'm saying that they should be able to figure out that a fishing line is a fishing line and therefore connect it straight back to Rin, since that's what we used to prove it's her anyways. Or at least to get initial suspicion on her. Speaking of Rin, here's a couple things. Rin is probably the most poorly handled character. Like, you think earlier I was maybe a little upset that Yukito was like wasted potential or whatever. Fucking Rin. Rin. Such an interesting, unique perspective. If countered by Pascal, which I'm not gonna talk on that until chapter 4 with Pascal. But then, Rin kills over a motive of what was the motive? Oh yeah, her family. Dang, the family you mentioned once in chapter one really shows how much it mattered to you. You're like, oh, Rin was isolating herself from the group. Fucking no. Like, she didn't go to group meals or whatever, but like she still hung out with the group. She still regularly conversed with the group. Like, she's and also she went to a lot of group meals. I was like, she only missed a couple of them. And it was only like somewhat early on, I think. Like chapter two? I don't remember exactly when. Like Rin, it was kind of just like, come on, you should have at least repeated it in chapter three. Having it be a single mention in chapter one in a scene where everyone gets to talk about themselves and their past and their family isn't going to make it stick in someone's head. Like, it just felt like Rin killed for no good reason, really. And it just pisses me the hell off that this is how they take out such an interesting character, and that there's no one who really lives on for her due to Pascal dying as a chapter four victim. It's just so fucking infuriating. God damn. Pisses me the hell off. But yeah, I don't know. What is there to fucking say that's positive? The hunger strike was a unique concept, but I ultimately didn't understand what the fucking point was. You're trapped in a death game, and you're saying, oh, we're going to kill ourselves from starvation in your death game. Like, man, what the fuck was the point of that, other than to just make it an easy and obvious way for Chidori and Nene to get killed? Like, also Chidori. I haven't mentioned Chidori yet because I didn't care about her character. She was a group leader. Sure. She's a group leader. Whatever. Boring or annoying? There's no in between with her. She was either boring or annoying in every scene she was in. But whatever. The only reason Fumi didn't die was because the plot demanded she make it far enough to be revealed. Honestly, I almost kind of wish she died before the reveal, just because as I think that would have been more interesting than actually what the reveal was. But yeah, we'll get to that in chapter 6. For now, I think that for me, early on was a fine character that just is so much worse on her second playthrough because the reveal doesn't make her character better. Chapter 4, B tier. In my opinion, the second best chapter of this manga, and it's mostly carried by the emotions of Daichi and Haruo. Is this carried somewhat by the fact that Haruo is my favorite character? Yeah. Genuinely, him as a blackened is also so interesting. And like the scenario where Daichi lives no matter what. Like, man, I was on the edge of my freaking seat with that excitement, trying to figure out who is the killer, who is the killer, who's the killer. Daichi being revealed to have been part of the plan like 20 minutes into the chapter definitely made that a bit obvious, but, you know. Also, Pascal's a waste of fucking potential. Well, the Tekken tournament is probably the least intrusive bit of let's just insert my a hobby slash special interests into this fangan. And like honestly, though expecting Danganronpa fans to understand Tekken at all really just was a bold assumption. I had to look up so much shit during this scene. Honestly, I wonder if I maybe should have just gone through the scene and just see what the fuck I understood because like, this isn't a Tekken game, it's a Danganronpa game, but whatever. Include special interests if you want. Overall, although like I did enjoy the Tekken music. Not don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the Tekken music in the game. I mean, Tekken music is actually really fucking good, especially this whatever music they use for Duel. I don't remember what it is, but yeah, that track was amazing. But yeah, that was my thoughts on By the way, that yawn. That was my thoughts on chat after for daily life after the motive began. Just boring. Every single day, I would just have Megumi talk to Ayaka, then Ryo, Ayaka, Ryo, Ayaka, Ryo, Ayaka, Ryo, just every single fucking day. Yeah, Pascal not being in your group means that yes, you had the talks with him over the video stuff, which still kept him kind of relevant. I still think it was fucking wasted potential. Like, did you really need to kill off the buff dude if they were like one of the more interesting characters left? Not to say I don't like the survivors for this game, I actually quite do. I think. Wait, who are those survivors again? Megumi, Daichi, Alucard, and Fumi, right? Aside from Fumi, I really do like the survivors from this game. Even Fumi was like, okay. Anyways, yeah, Haruo was a solid character. I generally quite liked him. Pascal was a fine character with wasted potential. And yeah, this chapter, pretty solid. Daily Life also had some nice moments. Like, I enjoyed the attempt to figure out who the mastermind was, as that was then stopped by Monokuma, because of course he knows about the plan. Ryo was the one who suggested it, and he's the game maker who's directly with Monokuma. Yeah, I'm also just not a fan of forced timer motives, like kill timer motives. But yeah, overall, a fine chapter with a few issues. It was but some nice highs. Chapter 5, High C tier. This chapter And what the fuck? Like this chapter had some amazing moments, and you know what? I'll put it as low B. I'll put it as low B. I'm changing my mind on that. The actual, like the mastermind, being the fifth killer. Bravo, bravo. Genuinely, such an amazing twist. Ruined by the fact that Ayako was an obvious blackened. Like, I'm sorry. It's as this Megami said, the more complicated you make a case, the easier it is to figure it out. And especially if you make it complicated in a way that doesn't actually frame anyone. Like, wow, Ayaka was the only person you could have killed because she was the only person you could have killed. And there's not really anything to say about it. Emmy was an obvious victim. I did enjoy Emmy though. Ayaka was a fine character. Didn't expect her to actually be the mastermind, which she wasn't, but like she thought she was, which is enough for me. The chapter was fine in daily life, by the way. Daily life, I have a bit of issues with it. It goes way too fast figuring out it's Ayaka, and then once she's revealed as a mastermind, it's also way too fast, but also kind of drags. Like, I, I mean, like it's realistic for everyone to just come to terms with the fact that we're fictional characters. Like, I was literally saying, I swear to God, if they dragged this bit out. So yeah, I guess I like that, but also felt a little too quick. Like they stuffed it a bit too fast. I'm rather with them being like unwilling to accept it at first, or like unwilling to do all that stuff. But it's fine. Now that best fucking chapter still in B tier. Ryo was a blatantly obvious mastermind, but that wasn't really much of the mystery. It was like the first half of the chapter was figuring out it was him. Everything else is pretty interesting, and I did like it, even if it was basically all spoon fed to us in the final chapter. Also, there is one thing I have to address, which is the biggest negative against chapter 6. The fact that Fumi is Kaede Akamatsu. I'm sorry, I need you to actually sound that one out. Where the fuck is Fumi inside of Kaede Akamatsu? No, seriously, where is it? The whole reason we call her Fumi is she's like, oh, I think I remember it being part of my name. Like, it's not even like a name that was associated with her, like Shuichi's name was. Because where the fuck is Fumi and Shuichi Saihara? It's so dumb, honestly. But whatever. At least there was some foreshadowing with the piano stuff in chapter 5. And her like movements with her Tekken character in chapter 4. Speaking on the survivor, I mean, Ryo, genuinely amazing mastermind. This is my Fanganronpa is a line that stuck with me and is like, it's amazing. It's a very funny line. He's clearly a joke of a mastermind who's kind of just a spoiled fanboy brat, which is exactly how they portray him in both this chapter and in Survivor's Guild. Both because Rui, of course, had online interactions with him. So yeah, I do genuinely enjoy him as a mastermind, even as a pathetic one. And yeah, the four survivors. Megami is a solid pro tag. I kind of wish she didn't solve literally everything, but I guess that's kind of the point of her character and why she was chosen for this Fangan. So I'm willing to deal with it. Alucard is a nice antag, but he kind of just flip flopped out of they. Yeah, they kind of flip flopped it well. Sorry, took a second to remember pronouns. Is Alucard he they or is it just they them? I can never freaking remember. So I'll just use they. But yeah. Uh, Alucard's a fine antag, I guess, but like lacks a lot of the punch of an antag. Emmy did a lot or yeah, Emmy did a lot for Alucard's character, but overall, Alucard was kind of just a bit flip floppy and a bit rushed. It was just kind of hard to keep track of where Alexander's standing, but that's kind of the general pacing of the game, and the fact that it doesn't work with an Alucard type of antag who changes their stance multiple times throughout the game. Next up, Daichi is genuinely such a satisfying survivor. Like, I went into the fangan being kind of annoyed at Daichi's character, but I left absolutely loving him. Fumi is a fine character, but the twist is horrible, and I generally just don't like her after the reveal. Nothing against her, she's just boring. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Live or Die. I don't really know what to say. Like, it's okay. Doesn't really set up Survivor's Guild in the way you might think. I mean, it sets up Gumi, I guess. And, like, I guess it's mentioned. But you don't actually need to play Live or Die to understand Survivor's Guild. Though I still recommend it because I generally enjoyed it better than I have the first two chapters of Survivor's Guild. Note, I've only played two chapters of Survivor's Guild, so that's not me saying the rest of the chapters are good. Just saying I haven't played them yet, so I can't judge them. Anyways, until next time, I'm probably going to do Survivor's Guild next, but I have to finish the game first, so sorry if it'll be a bit. Bye.